Primary colors by Channel Rocks Trash on AO3. Summary. He had no quirks, but he had two soulmates. And 4-year-old Izuku Midoriya wasn't sure whether this was worth it. Soulmates came in all shapes and forms, and had a habit of leaving shapes on your skin. Izuku knew that. He knew that whatever his dad was away, his mother would draw on her own skin, and his father's words would appear as an answer. It was fun, talking like that with his dad. Although, when he wrote on his mother's skin, there was never any answer. Only when the soulmate writes. That's when the words appear on the other person's skin. Most people would doodle on their arms, specifically when they were kids. You can never know when the connection would hit it. Izuku was 4, when there was tears streaming down his face. He was just drawing spirals on his left arm with a marker, and suddenly, the spirals continued in a different color, in a bright red, as if someone saw the spiral on their skin and decided to continue to say, "I am here. Look, I am here for you." And then there was another color, taking off where the red had stopped, a bright blue one. Izuku's hands were shaking as he followed the pattern and just put the marker down and continued the spirals from the blue one. 2 soulmates. He had no quirk, but he had 2 soulmates. But 4-year-old Izuku wasn't sure whether this was worth it. For a while, he didn't even tell his mother about it. Even after the spirals faded, after a short time, for a few days, this was his own closely guarded secret. He sat there, hugging himself, even when Kachan and the other kids would snicker over Izuku not having a quirk. But that night, he took out the marker again, drawing waves, and watched as the other lines joined in. For a long while, this was the only thing that happened. Izuku was still very young, and probably the other 2 were as well, so neither of them could actually write. They sometimes draw actual figures, and Izuku realized a lot of things. Blue's lines were more precise. They doodled less. Red had a tendency to take up his whole arm when they really got going. At these times, Izuku liked to doodle between the lines. Of course, within a short time, blue and red's lines would fade, and Izuku would be left with his own marker lines. But it made him smile, so his mother never scolded him, just got him washable markers. One time, they tried to draw a cat. Well, red tried. Blue tried to make it into a dog. In the end, Izuku drew rings on it, which caused red to angrily scribble it down. Another time, Izuku scribbled a small All Might head. It caused red to draw a lot of exclamation marks after it, and blue to draw a smiley face. Okay, he might eventually be able to get along with them. He was worried when blue did not reply for a while. Red was there, drawing as usual, and while blue was always the least talkative out of the 3 of them, they were never missing for long. And then one day, they resumed drawing, which caused Izuku to draw exclamation marks, and Red to draw question marks, a lot of them. Blue's only reply was that he drew a sad face, and nothing else. Even though Izuku was only 5, he wanted nothing else but to go to this sad person, boy or girl, it didn't matter, and just hug them tight. Red drew an angry face, and Izuku frowned, before drawing a small heart on a whim. Blue colored them both in. Even when Izuku actually started learning how to write, he realized none of them actually tried. Maybe they were all waiting to actually be able to write and read well before they started talking. Also, there was the fact that they were going to have to decide one day whether they wanted to tell each other who they were or not. Izuku knew that his parents had told each other their names as soon as they could, but he was supposed to tell them he was a quirkless failure. It was spring after the first year of elementary school. Izuku was 7. and it was Blue who first wrote unsure signs of their arms. Hello. Very polite, very formal, and Izuku just grabbed his marker and wrote back. Hi. Hello, Green. Is it okay if I call you Green? So Izuku's lines were green. Mom, I think one of them does not want to use our names. He rarely showed the marks to his mother, and she looked a bit concerned. Do you feel bad about it? No, I don't think so. It was better this way, was it not? Sure thing, Blue. Smiley face. Okay. What is my color then? Red. Red. Both of them had written it basically the same time, and Izuku couldn't stop giggling. They didn't write a lot about themselves. They were all 7 years old, and all 3 of them were boys, which was weird, but not unheard of, and Izuku was not even bothered. Now, what did bother him? I'm gonna be the best hero in the world. I want to be a hero too. Hey, maybe the 3 of us could work together one day. That would be great. And what are your quirks, huh? Let me tell you, I probably have the absolute best out of the 3 of us. Izuku's hands were shaking, and just stared at the red lines on his skin. Then there were blue ones appearing. I don't want to talk about it. Sorry. Maybe later. Gotta go. Maybe it wasn't the most heroic thing to do, but Izuku felt grateful for Blue's words. Blue still rarely spoke, and he was always the first one who wrote the more complex words, and the first one to switch to kanji as the years passed. Red and Izuku both rushed after him, learning from Blue as much as they could. My dad is teaching me, so I have a strict teacher. Blue had written once, so I guess that's why I'm learning these quicker than you two. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily smarter than you two, though. Damn right you're not. I think there's good parts of this. I mean, we are learning cool stuff from you. Yes, usually I don't see much good out of this, but telling you two about it makes it better. Still don't want to talk about it? Sorry, Green. Yeah. Let's not fucking bring the mood down, alright? Now, teaching you how to swear, that was definitely not me. Of course not. I'm learning on my own perfectly well, too. There were other things Blue had told about his father, very vaguely. Things that made Izuku want to cry, and Red wanting to go there and fight Blue's father. Izuku noticed. It was impossible not to. At least to Izuku, of course. He noticed. He had known Kachan since they were small, after all, even before he started talking with Red and Blue, and he definitely noticed that Kachan's handwriting was the same as Red. The more time passed, the more he could basically hear Kachan's voice of Red's words. Kachan was Red, and Izuku, well, was quite sure about it. He had no idea who Blue was. From what little Blue had talked about himself, he wasn't really in contact with other kids, apart from his siblings, about whom Blue was also very vague about. Izuku didn't know how to feel about this. He was quite unsure. He was mostly sure that Kachan was Red, but on the other hand, Kachan was Kachan, and Red was Red. Kachan was amazing. He was clearly the best at everything he did, and he knew it. He was often cruel, spiteful, but also incredible in every sense of the word. And he was very vocal about Deku being nowhere near his level, which Izuku knew, obviously. Red was mostly those things too. He was still arrogant, often bragged about how badass he was, despite still being an elementary schooler. But Red also listened. and his harsh lines were always there, comforting presence. Kachan was someone to reach, to try to catch up. Red was someone he kept by his side, no matter what. Izuku was sure of that. That however laid back, and sometimes angry, Red's words were, Red would always be there. Or maybe he wouldn't. Maybe if he knew one of his soulmates is quirkless, the more Kachanist side of Red would come out. He tried to think of Kachan and Red as two separate people, but it was completely impossible. Once the realization slowly dawned on him, Izuku noticed Kachan using the same kanji that Blue taught them. Sometimes, just to test if he'd notice, Izuku would draw the same kanji too, earning some praise for himself, and feeling Kachan's eyes on him. Kachan never said anything, and Red didn't act differently either. Nothing changed. Not really. And nothing changed for the most of middle school either. So, I guess you're all planning to go to UA? That's the plan, yeah. Maybe we'll meet there. Should we? Tell each other if we get in. Nah, isn't that the fun part, trying to figure out each other? So we're all doing this for fun? Aren't you? I have my own reasons, but if you diverse fun from this, please feel free. Fuck off, Blue. Make me. Guys, seriously, what if we get in, become classmates, and we won't even know? Then I can draw dicks on my arm and watch who gets red dicks on their arms. You do realize that in that way, you would have a penis on your arm too, right? Fuck off, Blue. As I said, make me. Izuku let out a long, suffering sigh. He had no idea if he had a realistic chance at getting into UA. But these two would probably bicker their way into graduation top of their class. It was the worst thing, not being able to tell the other two about meeting with All Might. Green, you've been very quiet lately. Are you okay? Yeah, sure, I am. I'm just training a lot. For the entrance exam. Yeah. Good luck. We might even see each other there, right? The primary colors in the same place for the first time? Red, blue, and yellow are the primary colors. Fuck off, nerd. Color theory is more complex, and it depends on whether you're thinking of painting or vision. Besides, if you say yellow is a primary color, does that mean green's fucked up his color? Not my fault. Don't be a dick, Red. Honestly, I think telling Red that, you might as well ask him to stop writing with Red. I don't think he's capable of it. Fuck you both. It wasn't until later that Izuku realized that Blue never actually said he'd be at the same place. They never actually wrote where they got in, whether they ended up into UA or not, and Izuku found himself watching his classmates, wondering whether Blue was one of them or not. Kachan was still there, and Izuku was wondering whether or not he was watching the others too, or not, and just how long they could stay quiet about this. After their battle trial test, Izuku was sitting home, struggling to hold the marker in his still healing hand. But he had to write. He absolutely had to. Guys, you both know I would never lie to either of you, right? Sure, what brought this on? He didn't answer, just stared at his arms, waiting intently. Red, please. It couldn't have lasted longer than a few minutes, but it felt like hours before he saw the red lines appear. Fuck off, Green. Red. What the fuck do you want me to say? You know what I mean. And Kachan absolutely had to know, right? Kachan was smart, and he was quick to make conclusions. He supposed he was going against All Might's wishes now, but this was Red. This was Kachan. And this was Red. Right, yes, I know what you mean. You fucking happy? Then you fucking know why I'm pissed. So why aren't you fucking off? Because I did not lie. You guys met? Something like that. It's a bit complicated. You bet it is. What is the fucking deal, Green? I told you. A bullshit story, that's what you told me. He just said he never lied to us. You have no idea what shit you are talking about, and it's none of your business either, Blue, so shut the fuck up. You're writing my arm full, so I guess I am involved here too. I'm really sorry, Red. I did not lie. Also, you are an idiot. Excuse me? Yes, you are an idiot. You seriously thought all those things? Come on, I always thought you were smart. Fuck off, Green. Weirdly enough, or maybe not weirdly at all, this didn't change much either. Kachan still mostly ignored him in class, and Izuku kept befriending others. And in the evenings, Red returned to mostly his regularly scheduled, more bitchier moods. But he was still Red. Red was still there, even if Kachan was still ignoring him. Seriously, he really hoped they would meet Blue soon. Maybe he could balance this mess out in person. Obviously, when he put together who it was the most likely candidate for being Blue, he realized that this is just gonna get more confusing. He didn't know which one was really tipping him off. The fact that Todoroki talked about his past, his father, strict father teaching him, what happened when he was 5, Izuku remembered all too well when Blue disappeared. They never talked about it later. The way he talked, the way he carried himself. Kachan was Red. Todoroki was Blue. It was before the 3rd round of the festival had started, before it was even Izuku's turn to fight Shinso, that he sat there, pen in hand. Then he put it down and walked towards his match. Todoroki was more than determined, telling him the facts before their matches. Well, Izuku didn't want to accidentally mess with his determination. Do you have an idea, Kachan? He asked the question before really thinking it through, before going to comfort Uraraka. Huh? About what? About Blue. It was like an unspoken rule was broken, and Izuku didn't care to turn around, to look at Kachan's face, especially when he heard his sharp intake of a breath. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Because I do, and if I'm right, this is just gonna get more complicated soon. The fuck do you mean? Izuku did not answer. It was painful holding a marker sometime after the festival. It wasn't a constant pain, but writing too much could strain it, causing his writing to be messier. He wasn't thinking that it would be his hand that would tip this whole thing off. Green, your hand is in a lot of pain, is it not? Sometimes, yeah. I'm sorry. Not your fault. Both of you can go to hell. You caught on, huh? Took a while. Fuck you, Blue. When did you catch on, if you're so fucking smart? I had my suspicions after the bio trials. Wasn't completely sure until recently, though. Green's handwriting really did change. Yeah, because you totally broke him apart, fucker, says the one who sent an explosion straight to his face. He was supposed to dodge that. Neither of those were either of your faults. I broke my own hand. Would you stop that? It was much harder talking face to face. Kachan was Kachan. Todoroki was Todoroki, and Izuku was Izuku. And neither of them really knew how to start all of it. But Todoroki sat down next to Kachan one time at lunch, and upon seeing it, Izuku sat down in front of them. If nothing else, it was a start. Was it not? So apparently we're less awkward if we talk like this. Green, you fucking idiot, you are sitting in the same room as us. And you are replying, which means it's working. If anyone sees us like this, they're gonna know. I think it's safe to say people are going to know, yes? No shit, the three of us are sitting here, writing on our arms in complete silence. We could talk out loud, too. Fuck you, Green. I guess we should talk about what we're going to do. Yeah, I mean, we can't avoid this topic forever, can we? Kachan looked like he was more than ready to avoid the topic forever, while Todoroki's face was plainly hidden behind his hair, and Izuku sighed before continuing writing. Look, I don't mind if we're gonna take this step by step, but we can't ignore this forever. I agree. We can't just pretend that red, green, and blue are different from what we are in reality. There it was. Really. Red was Kachan, blue was Todoroki, and green was Izuku. But somewhere along the lines, it was like red, blue, and green had taken off and started to live their own lives. Red, blue, and green were a lot more honest to each other, even when they had secrets, than Todoroki, Kachan, and Izuku ever were. I guess. Maybe somehow we should bring red, blue, green closer to who we are? It's me fighting Blue's father, a good start. Reading it actually made the corner of Todoroki's mouth twitch a little bit. You have to stand in line for that. Izuku couldn't help but smile, either. Yeah, if anything else, this was a start. 15-year-old Izuku Midoriya had a quirk now, and had 2 soulmates. And maybe, just maybe, this was all gonna work out in the end. So, this was a cute, soulmate AU fanfic. I love soulmate AUs. Soulmate AUs are amazing, wonderful, and it's poly. I love polyfics. I'm gonna see if I could find a whole long series where it's a polyfic. Specifically Todobakudeku. That is my favorite ship of all time. Todobakudeku is amazing. I love it. It's wonderful. It's brilliant. I need more of it. So if any of you guys have any suggestions in the comments, put them down there. I'll ask the authors if I could podfic it, and we'll go from there. Primary Colors is actually part of a series called Color Theory, and it has 3 one-shots. It's a small series. It's quite a small series. It's underneath 10,000 words. I got permission to do the other 2 as well. So maybe next week you will have additive colors, and then the week after that, complementary colors, because that's the name of the other 2. But, this was such a cute, little one-shot, less of a one-shot. It's part of a series, but, I'll be doing the next series, or the next one-shot next week, and then the week after that, I'll do complementary colors. This was cute. This was nice. I just saw one of the tags. Okay. Of the next one. I'm actually interested in that one. Okay. Well, I'm happy to have this here, and sorry. I'm recording this 30 minutes before it should be out. I'm gonna end this little outro now. As always, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Join our community Discord server, link is in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.